So check it out. I just got back from the hospital. I had to wait a second. I dropped a few tears for a minute. But my PET scan showed complete resolution. Basically, they couldn't find any cancerous lymph nodes in my body right now. It's not over yet. I still got to get checked up every 3 months at the hospital, whatever the case may be. But no more chemotherapy. Do you hear me? No more chemotherapy.
That was taken from the website of Abbas from episode 7. AbbasStrong.com, hashtag AbbasStrong. Look at you, brother. Winning the fight. Winning the goddamn fight, man. Congratulations. All that happy shit. Good job. Whatever you want to put in there, you keep on going, man. Give it up for him. Give it up for him, man. Look at you. Keep it up, man. Keep going, brother. You know, it's mad love for you over here, man. Keep going. Episode 10 of the On the Air podcast starring you and today's guest from Chicago, Illinois, fashion designer, whiskey connoisseur, the most extroverted Scorpio you will ever meet. Some call him the infamous one. He'll tell you to get to know him before you call him at all. You can find him on Twitter at New Age Ike Turner. Please welcome Greg.
All right, welcome to the show. We got the infamous New Age Ike Turner. Greg.
What's going on?
What's going on, man?
Man, I can't call it, man. I just came from hooping in like 5 months, man, so I'm kind of tired, but
Oh, yeah?
I'm chilling, yeah, man.
You was hooping?
Yeah, man. You know, you got to get out there. You get older, you know. That shit don't work. Don't move like you used to. You got to start working that shit a little bit.
How long did you last on the court?
Oh, man, we gave like, shit. I was out there with my cousin, so we did, you know, like 4 1-on-1s, 232. So, you know, I'm kind of spent a little bit. So.
Oh, good. Know. So you definitely ain't doing nothing else for the rest of the night.
Oh nah, man, I'm in, man. I got I got other shit to do, kids and shit tomorrow. So I'm decent.
You got the ice pack?
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, nah, we ain't that far yet. I ain't got to the 40s yet, I think.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Greg be out there hooping, man. Let's start with this, man. So many people the people that have been wanting me to do this interview, the main thing they've been wanting me to ask you is, why New Age Ike Turner? Why is that the Twitter name? And I don't usually start off with Twitter stuff, but the infamous New Age Ike Turner.
Right. I mean, you know what's so funny? I think it's the funniest thing that you know, I do appreciate his music. I know he's like the most infamous woman beater in the history of like any fucking thing. But you know, he's like whatever the fuck he is, like Chris Brown times infinity and shit.
Yeah.
But nah, I mean, you know, I enjoy his music. He's actually a really good, like he actually has 3 really good CDs that I really do like. But I mean, I just picked the name. I think it was funny because that's actually my 3rd Twitter name. I think before everything got to be whatever the fuck it is. You know, I was just kind of one of those names that jumped out, and then it just kind of just left, and I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I mean, you get the flack with it, you know, because everybody like, oh shit, you drink whiskey, and he probably slapped the shit out of women. I've never hit a woman in my life, so I think it's always funny when it's kind of like, oh, you might idolize this motherfucker, but I ain't never made nobody eat no cake like that. I think I'll be good. So I think it's just a name. I think the namesake is just what it is. You know, I think it just kind of caught on for what it's worth, and then you know it's funny. Funny you mentioned that because I actually was gonna change it today, but I couldn't. So
what were you?
I just kind of left it in. I don't even know. Like it's funny. I don't even fucking know.
As crazy as it sounds, man, it's kind of a brand now, and I mean that in the best way possible.
Right, and I say it's funny because like I'll get like earlier, like maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I used to get people outside used to say it, and they're like, oh, like they'll be like covering up and shit. And I'm like, dude, I got a fucking drink in my hand. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to chill. Like, I got a vest on. Like, leave me alone. Like, you know, like I'm all right. So I think that's the funniest thing. Like, it really comes from nowhere. Like, it comes from like you know, like me enjoying this music, but it never came from like, you know what, like I enjoy this guy like beating Tina Turner into superstardom. Like I enjoyed, like I didn't enjoy that, but you know, it's kind of just a name that stuck. And once it got kind of rolling, it was like, okay,
I think
kind of left it at this.
I think it's completely possible, not only possible but cool to you can separate the art from the person. That's like take I guess right now we can use Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
I may not care for this dude as a person, but in terms of the art, and you know, in turn, like this dude is undefeated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's cool. But I can separate that, and I respect those that can't. But I can respect I can appreciate the art. So that's kind of what you're doing with Ike Turner.
Yeah, I think it's funny because it's like Floyd Mayweather to me is a horrible fucking person. Like he's a horrible fucking person. But I don't think that you can knock his talent for who he is as a boxer. He's probably one of the greatest that we've probably seen in our lifetime. So I mean, you can't really escape that. Now, as a fucking person, yeah, he's probably fucking hideous. Like he's fucking horrible. But you know what I'm saying? Like other things, like, but you can't really knock people that do that. Like it's like, you know, I've had people block me over my name, like I've never spoken before. It's like, yeah, like, or I get somebody like I'm talking about domestic violence, and I'm really like an advocate, like, yo, like that shit not cool.
But your name, Ike Turner.
Like, your name, blah 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 blah. And I don't even know how to. I just started talking about basketball or some shit. Like I don't even, you know, like fuck it.
All right, so check this out. So the next question that I was told to ask you is, what's the difference between a suburb ass dude and a dude from the city?
That gotta be from Chef. I swear to God.
No, actually, it wasn't. That was actually that was Brittany. That was Pinky.
Okay.
That she.
I think it's funny because like a suburb guy, like they kind of sheltered. You know what I mean? Like they kind of like you could be from like the suburbs and still be, I guess, a tough guy. Like, I guess you could be okay, and people kind of want, because like you might, like your mama might move you out there when you got younger and you went to high school, but your grandma still stay in the hood, so you accept it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of cool, but it's not. Like, I could go to my uncle's house and hoop, and I can't wear red shoes, but I'm decent. Like, I can't turn my hat, but you know, I can still go on 83rd, like I'm all right. But no, I think it's different. Like, we just get a different variety with that shit. Like from the hood, like they don't get the opportunity to just kind of walk down 79th and go to the store or see a motherfucking we call them clubs, but like crackheads, like doing shit, and you know, it's not like a hood mentality. They just have something that's so sheltered, like. So when you get a suburb nigga and he come to the hood, it's kind of like, nigga, we know you a suburb nigga because like your hat, t-shirt match, like you know what I'm saying? Like, but you would get a flashy hood nigga, like a flashy hood nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll come back in like a decent like 06 Benz, just flashy as hell, like in it, but he just a hood nigga. He just who he is. But a suburb nigga come up like flashing in the light, and you know he got like AKA plates on his car. Like, you know that's your mama. You get your legend ass up out of here. Like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the difference. I think they just shelter to a point where, you know, they get a lot of shit that we don't get early, and it's kind of like a give or take. Like if you get a suburb nigga, he might be a point where he been around like different races, so he kind of can mold into something a little earlier than we can. Like, you come from the hood, like you go to black grammar school, you go to black elementary school, you go to black high school, and then you just transition out to whatever you're gonna do. And sometimes that's not as good because you get to college and you still calling white people niggas. Like, you don't even know how to transfer that shit to anything. So sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. But you know, like a suburb nigga just gonna be who he is though. They sometimes they about the lamest motherfucker. You know, it's fucking gonna do.
And so this is, so you're in Chicago. That can be applied, I think, to any city, in any suburban area. Because when you mention it, I'm thinking to myself like, yeah, that's a suburb dude.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you could get to a point where down there, like you'll go to like man, them Buckhead niggas down there, and then you go ahead and you be like, well, because it's weird. Like, I swear, the first time I went to Atlanta, it was like 05, and it was so weird because niggas was like, man, like it's real kind of like homosexual down there. And I'm like, nah. Like, I'm like, dude, they ain't really like that for real. Then you go to Lenox Mall, and that shit just changed your fucking life. That shit like different shit. But we went to like where the college is at, like where Spelman and
Morehouse.
Yeah, across from each other. Nigga, it was like a motherfucker climbing out the garbage. Like, that was like the hood. Like, we went to, like, the mall, and we like, okay, we know this shit is a kiosk. Y'all selling fake jewelry and wigs and shit. I'm like, yeah, this shit just like at home. You know what I'm saying? So, I see the transition, like, but it wasn't niggas out there like that. They was just, like, niggas. Like, they was just, like, hood niggas. So, I think that it's just a difference. Like, you go to a hood, like, you might go to New York, and you might get niggas from like uptown or Brooklyn or however it may be, and it just might be a different set of niggas. So,
what's the worst instance that you've seen of a suburb dude trying to be a city dude or trying to pass as one?
I think you know what's so funny? I think you get more of those in college.
Okay.
Like, it's funny because it's like a suburb dude. He probably done smoked weed before. He probably done drunk maybe from his mama's liquor cabinet. Like, just all like little shit like that. But when you get to like college, you know, you get to transition into anybody you want to be. So once you come back, it's like, once they come there, they just like, you know what? I could just be whoever. Like, I could sell drugs and do all this, but you know how a nigga talk. You know how a nigga look. Like, come on, man. Like, get out of here. Like, we know who you are. Like, you ain't got to be that. Like Chicago is really about high schools. Like, you go in the city, it's probably about 10 high schools that you go to where you be like, oh, man, shit. You know what I'm saying? That's some shit, whether it's out west, out south. You get a nigga like, oh, I went to Rich Central, some south suburb school. I'm like, man, get out of here. Like, you ain't something, nigga. Just give me this $5 bag of weed and get the hell out of my face. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, man. So you were born and raised in Chicago?
I was born and raised here. Me and my twin sister, my youngest sister, and I lived in California for 5 years. When I was we just being born until we got about 5 or 6. So I think like 1 or 5 or 6. So yeah, but other than that, I've pretty much been here all my life. You know, other than like going to college and like visiting motherfuckers. But I pretty much been born and raised in Inglewood. Born and raised.
Okay. And is your mom and dad from Chicago also?
Yes, my father is from Chicago and my mama is from here. So my mom is actually born in Mississippi. So like most of our family, like it's funny. I remember Brittany was saying something on Twitter, I believe, because nobody's parents, like nobody really parents or grandparents are really from Chicago. Like it's rare to get like a parent or a grandparent that's like born and raised here. You know what I'm saying? So our kids are gonna look at it a little different because we're born here, but we still got a little slang from like Mississippi, Arkansas, because most of our parents and shit, you know what I'm saying, are from down there or grandparents. And she was saying that if your mother or grandmother is from Chicago, more than likely she probably can't cook. And that's like more than likely. You know what I'm saying? It's probably the fucking truth because, you know, I done had girls whose mama was from here and, you know.
Couldn't boil water.
Nah, man. Yeah, so. And this is back when I couldn't cook, so that was the thing. Like,
I always find it fascinating how, like, people's parents get to where they are. So your mom was originally from Mississippi. How did she find Chicago? How did she get to Chicago? What brought her there?
So basically, my grandmother had 9 kids. So, you know, she was her and my grandfather, God rest his soul. He came up to. Both of them just came up. They came up when they were 17 years old and worked and bought a house, and they brought all the kids up, and you know, and it just started a family, and it was just a better opportunity. A lot in the South back then. You know, my grandmother was born in 1933. You know what I'm saying? Like my grandfather was born in 1929. So, you know, it wasn't a lot of opportunity for them down there. So a lot of people came north because they could work. My grandfather did construction for like 60 years. So. You know, it was always, it was just better opportunity. So it was like, you know, to raise a family, even though it was still segregated, you could still kind of do shit, which it still is now, which is so weird. But yeah, but you can just, you know, it was just a better opportunity for the kids. So, you know, and we just raised it, and it's a good city, man. You get a lot of shit out of it.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. I love it. Yeah. So you had a twin. Do a lot of people notice you have a twin sister? Because that was news to me up until I think maybe whenever the last time we talked.
Yeah and no. I think the people that really, really know me know. But I mean, if it's like standard, like maybe like Twitter or Instagram or whatever, you know, they can ask the questions or whatever. I do tend to say it as much. Like a lot of people on Facebook, like high schoolers or whatever. But yeah, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, people ask, but I don't think a lot of people know because it's just so far off, though. Like when you're younger, you know, you're doing more with your twin and shit. I think we celebrated birthdays every year until we were like 30. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, people get married and people have kids, so it's different. But, yeah, I mean, I talk about it, but, you know.
So let me ask you this about having a twin or being a twin. Okay. Like that, I always hear this, and I see it a lot with I have a twin niece and nephew. And so that twin instinct or that twin intuition, that's real?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like honestly, I ain't even gonna lie, like it's like this magic type of fucking thing that happens, but I think it only happened like maybe twice. I think once I think I went to jail or some shit one time, and I think my sister called me and she kind of fucking knew, and I don't even know how the fuck she knew. And then I think the day she was pregnant for the first time, and she told me, well, she's like, I got something to tell you. And I was like, you're pregnant. And she was like, how you know? I'm like, I just fucking know. So I think that was only like the 2 times in 30, well, God willing, 34 years of living of, you know, that type of twin thing, I guess.
Okay. Like, cause my niece and nephew, like, I swear they be talking telepathically across the room. Like, I would never play spades with them on the same team at all, because I'm gonna just consider the whole thing talking across the board. Like, it's to the point, like, I could tell, like, when they were babies, if one was getting in trouble, it's crazy. If one was getting in trouble and the other was in the other room, they would both start crying. And it was like, and I went back and looked at them, like, what is you crying for? I don't know. Crying. And then I couldn't find out my sister beat the other one ass though.
There you go.
Yeah. I kind of have something similar with my mom. If my mom starts crying, no matter where I am in the world, if I feel like I'm about to start crying, I'll call her and be like, you okay, mama? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, mama, don't cry because I'm crying. I don't know why.
That's kind of dope though. Like, shit, I wish I had that shit.
Another cool thing with my mom is like, she's the only other person that I know that has this is a little known fact, but my birthmark is actually on my eyeball. Now it doesn't hinder my vision or whatever, and you won't know it's there unless I show it to you. But she has one also on her eye. So I think that's pretty dope.
Hey, that is. Yeah.
Where did you go to college?
Oh man, Chicago State, Illinois State. You want to pick them? I can pick them for you.
You bounced around?
Yeah, man. It was funny because when I got out of high school, my sister went straight to college. Like, she went straight to college. So when I got out of high school, I was kind of one of them niggas like, man, fuck school. Like, I got through school. I was just like, whatever. Like, fuck all that. So you did the typical nigga shit. You sell a couple packs, you fucking drink and do all this other shit to say like, oh, okay, well, school ain't for me until you ain't doing shit, like nothing. Like you still like, you ain't doing shit. So for me, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to just go to junior college. Like, fuck it. I'll just go there. Because my mama gave me my mama is funny. She gave me an alternative. She was like, nigga, you either got to get a job or you got to go to school. And I ended up actually doing both, which is so funny. So she was just like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up doing that, you know what I'm saying? Then it was funny because I finished out like a year and I think a little over a year at Daly and just community college that we have here. And it's funny because one of my closest male friends, he went to Illinois State, and he kept saying it was funny. We used to hoop together, play football, do whatever, just like chilling. And he would tell me, like, man, you got to come down here. You got to come down here. I'm like, man, I can't get into that shit, man. I'm just trying to go to school. I ain't trying to do all that. So one day I visited him, and he was like, man, just talk to the recruiter. So I'm like, all right, cool. Bet. So I talked to him, black guy. It's the black recruiter that they had down there. So he was like, man, cool. he was like, do me a favor. He was like, you take the ACT right down here, and you've passed these 2 classes in the summer, and I'll let you in. I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, dude, it's college. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, it's fucking college. Like, nobody really fucking does that. So he comes back and he's like, you know what? Just do that and we good. So the first time I took the ACT when I was 17, I got which is funny because I probably should have been drinking. I never drunk before I got to 21, which is so funny. Like, that's always funny when people see me drink now. Because I never drunk before I got to like 20, like late 20.
Word, because I never drunk before I got to be 29.
Yeah, all right. So the first time I did, I got a 17. But I was bullshit. I'm like, fuck it. I was junior year. I ain't give a shit. So he come back and he was like, just take it. So I ended up getting a 27. So he was like, okay, cool. Whatever. So I ended up taking the 2 classes. I didn't even finish the second class, and he actually sent me to my house, and my mother was really proud. She sent my acceptance letter to Illinois State that year. And yeah, it was funny. Yeah, so it was cool. And I stayed down there like 2 semesters. I couldn't. So that wasn't what it was.
What was your major?
Political science.
Okay.
Which it still is. It's funny. I think if people like it because they like. I guess I like to hear myself talk. That's what fucking people say, I guess. So.
What were you hoping to do with the poli-sci degree?
Oh, man, I always wanted to run for office, man. But I don't think my background going to allow me to do that. But, like, and it's not even criminal. It's just like a motherfucker would be like, look, I got his fucking news. Like, no. Like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to look at shit. Like, even being an alderman, you had that motherfucker come with a tight skirt. Like, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't need those issues. Especially if I'm trying to be, like, squeaky clean and shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you just kind of, I guess in a sense, I mean, it's definitely happened. You know what I mean? I guess you pay to have it buried, or you just come clean with it. Maybe it'll humanize you, and I don't know. Yeah. I mean, you know, Chicago definitely has a strong political background, you know, Lincoln.
Yes, they do.
Obama.
And I think it's funny because it's like, you can actually get away with a lot of shit, though. I think people don't, like, Chicago is like that type of town. Like, you got to really just not fuck with kids, and you got to not steal from hospitals. Everybody else that does that,
that's it.
For real. Like, you got to look at, like, people like Blagojevich. Like, when Daley was here, Blagojevich was like, you know what? I'm not fucking with Daley. And Daley was like, okay, cool. You don't have to fuck with me, but just don't fuck with anything else. And then he just started fucking with, like, the money to the children's hospital and shit, and they bagged him. So, man. I mean, it's just little shit, though. Like, but you know, the game is always the game.
The game is always the game.
It is. It ain't never gonna change, man.
We talked about your mom and your sister. What's your relation like with your father?
Man, that is that is an interesting dynamic.
Okay.
I think it's it's funny because, and I never tell this story, so I guess this is the first time I actually.
You get it here first on the OTAP show.
And it's funny because I told my, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really tell this story, which is so funny, but yeah, like it was 1987. You know, we had lived in California for 5 years, and you know, my mother really didn't like it. Like, and I get it. Like, I've been there at least 3 times since I was 18, and I'm not keen on it anyway. But it's a different reason. But yeah, so we were 6. My little sister was just being born, and so my father was like, you know what? I'm gonna get us a better place to stay. And I'm going to send for y'all. So we were in Chicago. He was in LA. And he was like, I'm going to send for y'all or whatever. That was 1987. I think it's 2015 now. So, yeah, I guess that plan kind of figure it out.
Damn.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, I mean,
wow.
For that, I mean, like, it wasn't really for me. Like, I resented him for a long time. Like, it was, like, crazy, like through high school, like grammar school, high school. And it really wasn't the fact that, like, for me, because I'm like, dude, like, I could still kind of be like a guy around my mama, and kind of do shit, and it's gonna be all right. But like, it's hard to see like girls grow up, you know what I'm saying, without their father like that, and see my sisters and shit kind of gripping on to like the little bullshit that he was kind of giving off. So it was kind of like, I noticed my father, but like, I'm gonna just hold on to that. Or like, I know that's this, but I'm gonna just hold on to that, because we don't really have a lot of similarities, which is funny, like, at all. So I think the relationship is like, it's better now. Like, we don't really talk because we don't have shit to talk about, because I'm like an avid sports fan. Like, I will talk about the Bulls, like the Bears, like whatever. And he doesn't like sports at all. Like, he's not a fan of it, like, at all. Like, he doesn't watch it. He's not a casual fan, like anything. Pretty much the only thing that we have in common is whiskey and fucking women. And, you know, I could fucking talk to Elliot about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could fucking call Ralph and ask him about, you know what I'm saying, some that shit like that. So for me, you know, and even you, shit, I could fucking call you.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's weird because, like, we don't really have shit to talk about. So when birthdays come up, he is Scorpio, I'm one. His birthday the 4th, mine the 10th. And then Father's Day, like, that's really the only time we kind of speak to do anything. Because, like, he'll say shit on Facebook, or, like, that's my grandbaby when I post my daughter, or, you know what I'm saying, like, them my kids or whatever. But, you know, like, it's just, we don't really have nothing in common to talk about, so.
Did you ever ask him why he didn't, you know, why he never sent for you guys? Like,
No.
have y'all had that conversation at all?
Nah. I never really, like, it got to a point where I just never cared. Like, I just stopped caring. Like, it's like, if you're gonna go out there and do whatever you gotta do, that's cool. Like, if you don't want to acknowledge it, that's cool too. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you just kind of owe your kids an explanation. Like, I already have to ask you shit, because it's kind of like, I'm 33. Like, that time is over and past. Like, I don't need child support. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need you to pay for shit. Like, I don't need shit. So I think it just passed. Like, it got to a point where he was still my father, and it was still kind of awkward talking to him. But then I got through a transition where I could talk to anybody, and I just didn't want to talk anymore. So I never gave a shit. It was like, you made the decision, you had 2 more kids, so I mean, like, you did whatever the fuck you wanted to do, so, you know, you gotta live with that. So, I mean, it was really never a reason why.
Is he aware that you were angry with him?
Yeah, I mean, we've had that conversation, but, you know, over drinks, all that shit started turning into the same thing. So, you know, you kind of just leave it be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny because even with, like, women and men, they kind of do the same thing. If you keep hearing excuses, it kind of just drown out at some point. So it's kind of just like, all right, cool. Like, you did that, and that's how you felt. So it is what it is.
So if he was, you know, not around, and, you know, you didn't really call him too much, you know, who was your male influence?
My uncles. I got 6 uncles. Well, 5. God rest one of them. So I had 6 uncles growing up, and all of them did, like, different things. I had one uncle that, you know, like, he cut hair, and, you know, most of my uncles did construction because their dad did construction. You know what I'm saying? That was the guys that taught me how to do that. And, you know, you had the younger one that was dealing with all the women, and you had the other younger one that was in and out of jail, and then you got my one uncle that paints, and he owns a whole, like a complete gymnastics gym. Like, you have that. You have my other uncle that's, like, a few that's married, you know, built a house from the ground up, like, just a lot of different shit. So a lot of them were people I was able to talk to. I mean, you're never gonna really replace that whole father thing. Like, you're never really gonna replace that. But, you know, they helped along the way with whatever. Whether it was good or bad, though, because sometimes you look at your uncle bagging up coke, and you just like, all right, well, I'm just trying to get this Reese cup behind you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he just happened to be bagging it up.
And you just like, dude, like, yeah, like, this Kit Kat just right on the table, just, you know, fuck it.
Excuse me, I don't mean to reach through your line, but I just need to get that reach, because you're passing the reach. You know, when you finish bagging it, when you finish chipping that, could you hand me that Kit Kat, please? I'll wait. You know, I appreciate it. How many sisters do you have?
I got 5. I have my twin sister, my younger sister. I got 3 half sisters, so 5 in total.
Okay. All right, and so growing up, so that's what? That's them, including your mom. So that's 6 women that you might have grown up with.
And my grandmother.
And well, 7. All right. So with those strong female influences in your life, what's your relationship been like with women in general?
Oh man, I don't even know how to answer that though. It's funny because I mean, for the most part, I think it's been fine. But you always, I don't know. I think it's weird though. Like, for the most part, you want to deal with like, it's funny. I've had somebody say to me, I never really seen marriage growing up. Like, I never seen marriage or like decent homes or whatever. Sometimes I have, but I got it, and it hurt a little bit when somebody said it. But like, I never really seen that, so it's hard for me to recognize it. And I didn't get it at the time. I was fucking like furious when I heard that. But then, like, going through it, you kind of understand it. Like, man, like, you really don't see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see. Like, I've seen my mother probably in 2 functional relationships in my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Ever. You know what I'm saying? So you see that, and sometimes that shit pours onto you. And, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know it's the fact of, like, my mother always telling me, like, yo, like, just be nice. And, chivalry is cool. Like, you can still do that and open up doors and whatever. But she wasn't really the person to do that. You know who did that shit? Movies. Movies taught me everything I need to know about shit like that. I swear to God. You look at Clark Gable, you like, look at this childish son of a bitch. And it's like funny, but I don't know really how it turned. I think it's once I get married, I think you kind of figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that'll be the huge factor of like everything. You know what I mean? Like when I figure that whole thing out.
You want to get married?
I do actually. So I thought I would be married earlier in my life, but I wasn't ready for that shit, man. Like, even when I thought about it, like, I wasn't. Like, I never really even thought it. Like, I wasn't ready for that shit. I thought I was, like, seriously. Like, I was like, you know what? This is the fucking thing. But, like, you gotta go through that bad shit. Like, you gotta go through the good shit. You gotta go through, like, just the experience of just living. That's why it's like, when I see people, like, I don't think they wrong. Like, when people go through marriage and shit and, like, really serious shit, like, early on, like, 20 and 21 and 22, that shit tough because it's like, dude, like, you learn everything out of your 30s. Like going in your 20s, like, that's where you learn how to be consistent. That's how you learn the bullshit. That's when you learn the game. That's when you learn really fucking. That's where your prime is. That's where you become a hoe. That's why you come back from being a hoe. That's when you want to be solid. That's why you live with a motherfucker. That's when you don't. That's when you get your own shit. You buy your own car. You get your own job. Like, that 10-year span is like when you, like, take everything in account to, like, being who you are. So it's always funny when people be like, man, I'm 22 and I gotta have this shit. Like, you can have it. Like, we don't never want to stomp on your dreams. You just gotta keep living because this shit ain't like they say it is, man. Like, this shit different.
I tell people all the time, younger people, and I tell them, I say, listen, you in your 20s, all that stuff will be there. This is the time to fuck up. You know what I mean? Just go around and try different stuff. Fuck up so that you can learn from it. Because I'll never forget, I was 21 and I was living in Los Angeles at the time. And this guy that I worked with, he had just turned 31. He's going to turn 32. And he said, let me tell you something, Corey. He said, you don't want to get to 30 and then look back at the last 10 years of your life and realize you don't have anything to show for it.
Right.
And I was looking at him and his situation and what he had going on, and I was like, fuck. Like, damn, that's true. He was like, take the time to enjoy yourself, you know what I mean, and learn new things and live and go and do all these different things. But, you definitely want to put some things for yourself, have something to show for it. And I was like, wow. So when I look back and when I turned 30, that's exactly what I did. I looked back to see what I had, and I didn't mean to kind of compare myself to his situation, but it was just more of a, I wanted to, because he took the time out to tell me that. I wanted to be sure I was living up to that. So definitely take the time in your 20s to enjoy it. Don't rush to get married, or, you don't have, if you have kids, great, you know what I mean? But there's this whole thing about, I got to do this stuff by the time I'm 30, which I don't get. Like, is your elbow gonna pop off if it don't happen by the time you 30?
And I think it's weird too because like I never really heard that shit like you getting old until like Twitter, like the internet and shit. I never really heard like, oh well, you getting old once you turn 30. Like, oh okay, you can't really do this. Oh,
Man, whatever.
30,
I am ripe.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good to go. Like, but unfortunately, like, I can't run 6 miles in a fucking day. But I mean, like, give me a fucking break. Like, who can? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? So, I mean, I think it's funny. And then even with when you reflect on that, when you turn 30 or 40 or however it may be, you just want to make sure you don't have no regrets out of that shit. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, people kind of look back on their life and be like, yo, what could I have done? And I could have did this. And man, I regret doing that, and I should have did this. I mean, you can still do it, but it's just like sometimes once that shit passes, it just passes, and you gotta live with that shit.
In general, do you have any regrets?
Nah, man, nah. I did way back when, but like right now, you just gotta make the best decisions though. Like whatever the best is. And I've never made like the greatest fucking decisions. I'll be the first motherfucker to say that shit. You know what I'm saying? But you guys still kind of look at it like whatever God placed in front of you, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what you gotta, you know what I'm saying, what you gotta roll with. Like I've had really good people in my life. I've been really fortunate to really not meet really bad people. Like it maybe might be a handful of like bad people that I've met in my life where I just like, yo, I don't fuck with you. Like it's only like maybe a handful, but I've been really, whether it's been relationships, whether it's been just meeting people just outside, whether it's been school, home, like whatever, I've been very fortunate, you know what I'm saying, with meeting like really good people from all walks of life, man.
Well, that's great, man. That's awesome. When you said you regretted something, you know, way back when, what was it that you regretted, and how did you soothe it? Like, how did you get past it?
Oh man, I think the biggest thing was like not having that, like how you kind of brought it up before. I think the biggest regret was like not having that talk with my father, because maybe it would have changed a little bit of shit. You know what I'm saying? Man. Growing up, like, because I mean, you got to look like him. He got like, look at this shit. He got 5 kids. Well, 6. Yeah, 6 kids from 4 different motherfuckers, 3 or some shit like that. Yeah. So I mean, like, just to kind of pick his brain, like, what the fuck, like, what's going on? I think that was the biggest thing for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but once I got to look at, like, man, I don't know what I would have got from that. Like, even with picking his brain, like, even saying, like, oh, so why you leave mom? And why you do this? And why you leave your daughters? Like, my sisters and shit. Like, why you do that? And you could have came back. Like, it's cool. Like, because I've seen them. Like, it's funny because I've seen, but I regret asking those questions. But then you kind of look like, would you really be able to handle the answers that you was going to get? So, for me, you know what I'm saying, you got to kind of look at it like that. Like, it's cool, but, you know, it is what it is.
Let's talk about your daughter. Do you remember the day you found out that the woman you were with, I don't know if she was your girl at the time.
She was.
She was. Okay, so do you remember the day you found out she was pregnant?
I did.
All right. So take me through how she told you, how you found out, and how you felt inside.
It was funny because I had my daughter and I was 28. Like, I was like, that whole year that was happening. I think I want to say that I was 28. And when she told me, I was really excited because I'm like, yo, it's not like I'm 21. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to, or 18. Oh, excuse me. And I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. Like, I'm like, yo, like, I was really excited about that, which is funny because I knew I was going to have a girl. That's always fun. But, yeah, I think we kept it pretty low for about 3 months, because you know that whole like 3-month thing is really iffy for like new kids and everything. So but I was excited, man. It was a good experience. Like, it was what it was.
All right, and when she was born, what was that moment like for you?
Fucking torture. I remember it was funny. I think I came from hooping when her water broke, and even going, it was actually short. Like I think our water broke maybe at like 6:30 or 6:45 or something, and my daughter was born maybe 11:27. So it was actually short compared to what people. But it's probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my fucking life. Like,
you were on the business end?
I was, but I had to move backwards because that shit was like that shit was like fucked up. Like that shit is like it's like a head and like some lava and like some blood and like some other shit. And I'm like, dude.
So I want to take a moment for the feminists that are listening to the show that we are not dehumanizing childbirth. Right. He's just giving he's giving his account of how it was. Childbirth is beautiful. Lava is just a description. Nah, but go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was just interesting. Would I be there again? Yeah, like I'll definitely be there again for another child's birth. But would I technically watch it like I did? Absolutely not. Like I'll definitely hold a hand or give a motherfucker a towel or something. But you want some Gatorade? I could definitely do that too. But it's no way in hell I'm watching that again.
My friend, when his son was born, he was like, "Look, let me tell you, when you have a kid, do not go down there." He was like, "That's why doctor's in the room." Let me see what I got next for you. Oh, okay. Growing up with 5 sisters, right? Okay. How stressful was that household?
Oh man, it was interesting. It's funny because I don't know what it is. It's funny because you can see it on Twitter a lot. Like sometimes women's cycles just kind of go together. So
it's magic. It's magic.
Yeah, it's something, and you'll see it, and it's like. You'll have one person and they're really fucking agitated, and you have another person that really fucking agitated, and it's kind of just like, dude, I'm just trying to play Sega and get the fuck out of y'all way. Like, literally, like, I'm not even, like, I understand, like, the gravy and rice is on the fucking table, and the chicken is there, but just leave me be. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, that was the toughest part. Like, it wasn't really, like, because it's weird because, like, a lot of women, like we've always had like clean women in our family, and I'm not saying that women are dirty or anything like that, but it's just like we always had that. So it's weird, like you'll go, you know what I'm saying? Like I never had a point where the bathroom was fucked up,
right,
or hair over the bathroom or shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
they didn't leave the shit in the sink and whatnot. They
cleaned it like it wasn't anything like that. I think the biggest thing was kind of like when no bullshit when their cycles kind of matched up, because you got to look like. My mother and then my sister and then my little sister, and they're just like my little sister and my twin had a room together, so they're just fucking going at it, and I'm just trying to fucking play Resident Evil, and my mother like, oh man, it's fucking 10 o'clock, you need to fucking like, I'm like, yo, like the fuck, like I just turned this bitch on, like I'm in the fourth quarter. So
I think the coolest part is that you were saying they clean out the hair out their sink. So I mean, shout out to the women that clean hair out their sink when they leave it. This podcast is for you.
And it's funny because like now it's some women that's really conscious about it though. Like they really have like really clean and good homes though. Like it's fun. You mostly get the guys. Like I've been to like some of my guys' house, and I'll be like, dude, like really? Like there's a fucking gym room in here. Like this is a fucking like dude. Like, just clean underneath your toilet. Like, it'll be fine.
So, let me tell you what I learned. Because I also have 5 sisters. I also have 5 brothers as well. Here's what I learned growing up. I actually learned this with my cousin. I understand and I learned that, PMS is a real thing. I get it.
Right.
So, this isn't, for those, with heavy in the PMS life, I don't want y'all to think I'm bashing or whatnot. This is just what I've learned. That some of those attitudes and that anger, you have a little bit more control over it than what you let on. Let me tell you how I found out, right? Now this was me basically just saying fuck it all because I got so tired of it. I would be over at my aunt's house and she had all girls, and when they were PMSing, they all just became the worst assholes, and they would just try to come take their shit out on me, right?
Right.
So one day, I'm like 10, 11, right? So I'm like, you know what? Forget it. If we gonna go to war, we gonna go to war. So
Right.
next time that happened, I just started intentionally doing stuff to fuck with them. Like when they came and fuck with me, I would go in their room and knock shit over. And then they'll get even madder again, and I go back in there and knock shit over. Then they come try to fight, and I go in there and knock shit over again or whatever. So the next time when I came over and that happened, guess who they didn't fuck with? They didn't fuck with me. So they can aim that shit in another direction. I don't know how they did it, but I mean I'm not recommending that dudes listening, you go over and knock your girl shit over. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
All I'm saying is
I don't think that's feasible.
Yeah, exactly. All I'm saying is there's probably a little bit more control over it than what they let on. I think nowadays women just want chocolate. So just give them a whole grip of chocolate and turn on love and hip hop and go about your business. That was, generalist Twitter is definitely gonna come my way for that.
Yeah, that I don't even know if I can agree with that one. I got enough of shit that I gotta I don't know if I can agree with that.
Fuck it, it's my show. They'll be all right. Oh man. Let's see. What advice would you give your younger self? Say between the ages of 15 and 19. Knowing what you know now.
15 and, oh my God. Nigga, the girl's gonna come. Just you let them come. Shit, like shit, nigga. Like your beard gonna grow in. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that was the biggest thing. Is just apply it a little better with it's fucked up when you I have one degree. I have an associate's degree in criminal law, and it's just whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But I mean, people kind of just like whatever with them type of degrees. So I never really throw that shit out there. It's like whatever. So I always say that I never have any degrees because usually the bachelor's degree is really what motherfuckers be looking at.
Yeah.
But it's weird because it's just like, man, like when you figure out young when you could bullshit a C. Mm-hmm. That's the worst. That's the best shit ever and the worst shit ever. Like when you figure out, like, dude, I could bullshit me a C. That's like the best shit ever because you in high school, like, nigga, I ain't gotta study. I ain't gotta do this because I'm good. And you get it and you good. But you bullshitting because once it get past that whole 18, like, you really gotta come at something else. Like
at a certain age, it don't fly.
I never did. It's funny as hell. I don't think I never did that cosine shit. I only cosine. I don't even know what the fuck that shit even in math. I swear to God, on the boss, I never did that shit in college.
I know what you're talking about.
I never did that shit in high school. I never did it in high school. I went through 3 fucking years of math and I never did that cosine shit ever. Mm-hmm. You know how fucked up that is? I got the fucking college. Like, wait, what? You motherfucker might as well. I might as well be in Austria. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to that because I got into a point where the worst thing for me was finding out I didn't have to study for your quote unquote hard ass test, right?
Yeah.
So I'm knocking it out. You know what I mean? I'm doing what I want to. I'm cool with getting, all through grade school, all through middle school. I'm good with A's and B's. I get to 9th, 10th grade and realize that, all right, well, this might be a little difficult, but if I get a C, I'm fine. And I'm happy with that. And then, it started catching up with me because by the time 12th grade came around, like I was, I didn't graduate on time, right? So because, I was fucking around. And I got myself into such a hole to where I feel like I said, if I ever have an opportunity to go to college, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna give it all I have because I knew I was better than that. It was lazy and I felt like I could get around this. I put more energy into trying to beat the system, and the worst thing for me was actually beating the system.
Right.
Like once I found out, I can beat y'all. Oh, then it was a game because I wasn't being challenged anywhere else. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I definitely get that. Like that was so anyway. I got to college and I was everything I could be and that's that. Graduated business degree. Right. So here we are. But yeah, I agree. That's definitely the worst thing.
Yeah, I mean, like it's funny because I mean I don't know. I think you just get there and you just kind of just figure out all the shit you don't know. And I think that's the scariest thing about, and it could be fucking Chicago public school system shit. It could be that. But you look at my sister and she's a fucking engineer, and it's funny, I thought my sister loved school. I swear to God, for years, I'm like, dude, you're getting fucking A's. And you know what? She's like, man, I don't like this shit. I'm just doing this. I get a fucking job. I'm like, okay, perfect. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's always funny when you get that, well, you know, where you're trying to beat the system, because sometimes that shit don't never leave. Because you always trying to beat the system forever. Like, you trying to beat the game of life. Like, that's pretty much what it is. Like,
right.
You pretty much racing against the clock to beat every day. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even slow down and kind of figure that whole fucking thing out.
How are you going to handle your daughters when she starts dating?
Oh, man. I try not to look at that as much.
Oh, it's coming, brother.
Yeah, I know, and it is fucking scary, because this is the scariest part. I always say technology makes shit like fucked up, but it kind of like the greatest shit in the history of shit, other than like the remote and like the light switch. It's not like standard shit, but not like literally, like, it's kind of fucked up, because it's like, dude, 10 years ago, I couldn't imagine FaceTiming somebody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't imagine, 15, maybe something like that. I couldn't imagine doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine talking to people across fucking state lines through a fucking telephone. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was like sci-fi shit. Like,
at no additional charge.
And right. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't no shit where we just like, okay, fuck it. Well, we're going to have floating cars soon, so, you know, we don't have to deal with this shit. So it wasn't really that type of thing. Like, that shit is scary when you look at it. So when my daughter is 5, when she turns 15 or 13, 10 years from now, what technology is going to be, I think that what scares me. I don't think dating, because these little niggas is going to be these little niggas. You can still shoot them motherfuckers like anybody else, so that don't really make no difference. But I mean, just the technology that you don't see. Like, I wouldn't even know what the fuck to do in high school if I could look at the girl that I was with or wanted to go to, and I didn't have to call and pick up and have my sister answer. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So, her father could pick up or whatever the fuck that was, so I could talk to her, when I could just pick up a fucking iPad and then talk to her. Dude, I had 17 fucking kids, and that was fucking shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? So that shit is like, I think that scares me the most. I don't think the dating thing scares me. I think more or less the technology and where we're headed, I think that terrifies me more.
How would you feel if she brought home someone like you? Like, there's no shade in that question. I'm just
I know. I think it's funny because I don't really like. It's like somebody like me, and I'm just like, I don't even really know. Like, it's funny because I always get like the charm or whatever. So if she gets somebody that's charming, it's kind of like cool. But it's kind of like, if you get me like early 20s, like, hell no, no, you don't want to be with that motherfucker. Like, he's not committed to anything.
They say a lot of times, like, if a person has troubled history or a challenging past with women, and they say they're going to have daughters, and their daughters are going to date those same type of dudes.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can definitely see that. And I'm trying not to get to that point because, you know, I don't know. You got to kind of, and I think it might be a point where sometimes you get to a point where a man is not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might see it and you might don't. But my sisters never dated guys like my father, ever. My younger sister don't even date black men in general.
Oh.
So that's an old fucking thing.
Oh, more power to
her. Hey, look, that's another fucking issue, but I don't think we have enough time for that. But so I think it's funny because sometimes the absentee point of it can be a point where you just like, oh, I don't even know who this motherfucker is. I'm not even dating anything like that. Or it could be somebody that's there and kind of reinforce like, yo, this is what I've done. And you need to kind of look past what I've done. Yeah. Or I can explain to you what I've done and pick up on whatever, because everybody gonna make their mistakes. Like I can't fucking sit here and say everything I've done in my life I've done this, that, and the other. So don't you pick somebody that does that, because she's gonna come home with some garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's gonna come home with some fucking garbage, and I just gotta be like I'll fuck you up. Like just don't like I'll fuck you up for real. But you just gotta kind of let a motherfucker do that.
Okay. What sort of things bother you? Like if there's one thing in the world that keeps you up at night, what would it be, or what is it?
Shit. Try not to be fucking homeless. I think that's the. You know what I'm saying? No, it ain't really like that. I think it's funny because it's like, shit get paid and it's done and it's whatever. But I think like really just trying to be a better person. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like just going forward and just trying to be like a better person, a better man, or whether, like a better boyfriend, a better whatever. Just, trying to be a better person every day. I think for me, that really rumbles because I'm trying to always figure out how to be that better person. But you always gonna get the shit that come with it or whatever. But just, just that and providing, I think that's the scariest thing. Like you always wanna, like whether your daughter come to you like, yo, I need some crayons or a fucking coloring book or whatever. She get older and she need a fucking prom dress. And you just like, dude, I just want to be able to provide for her to do that.
Do you think you're a better person this year than you were last year?
What year is this? No. Yeah, I want to say that I've graduated out of being whatever every year.
Yeah.
I think I've tried to be a better person. I don't really know because I can't really gauge that shit. I think it's weird because people be like, you know what, fuck that. I'm just better. I'm just this. But I don't really know how to gauge it. I guess I let somebody else gauge it. Maybe not though. Maybe I'm just like alcoholic or something to people or whatever. I don't know what the fuck people got. Like I don't know what the fuck it is. I just try to do the best that I can every fucking day, and then that's it.
Let me ask you, since you brought it up, that's funny. Are you an alcoholic?
I don't go to meetings, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Now, I think it's weird because like I don't know. I think it's always because that's always the thing. But it's always funny when people come because I've had people come to me and talk about like whether it be like substance abuse or alcoholism or however it may be or whatever. And it's funny because whenever, like if I stop drinking tomorrow, like say I stop drinking or, like whatever it may be, like smoking weed or doing this, like people don't understand that you have to have another vice. And that's what it is. Yeah. Like you might have somebody that said, you know what, I might have been on alcohol for a long time and I quit. Yeah, but you work out like a fucking heathen. Like that's your thing. Like you need that thing because that thing is what keeps you from doing that other thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that thing. Like people need that shit, and I like it's just what it is. Like I don't know. I don't look at it as no way. Like if I have a fucking brew, like fuck you. Like I don't care. Like, I don't really care. Like it's funny because I don't really give a fuck about that shit. Like people could do that shit. Like it's funny. Like when you younger, you give a fuck about people's opinion. Like you give a fuck about how people view you, and you give a fuck about a lot of different shit. But then when you get older, it's kind of like you've been through it and you done it. And it's kind of like, okay, well, you don't drink. I don't give a fuck. That's cool. But, I'm going to sip this beer while you do Pilates. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you telling me is being that, like, what's that's going to do. Like, I don't know. Like,
right.
So.
Right now, are you drinking anything right now? Like, is there a couple?
Yeah, like. I'm not drinking any hard liquor. I will say that though. I do have like a Modelo sitting in front of me, so I do have a beer, a lager, I guess, Mexican lager sitting in front of me. So I'm good.
What's your drink of choice? Like your go-to?
Whiskey. So it'll be Jameson and Makers is always good. Crown Royal is always good. Yeah. So
All right, so
the standard level shit. So I used to drink Hennessy a lot, but that shit too sweet. I can't drink that shit anymore.
All right, so you know this was coming. The night we first met.
Yeah.
The night we first met, you gave me my first drink.
I did.
Right. Kind of give an account of how that was from your perspective, and then I'll tell my side of it.
Okay.
We were back at the hotel. It was me, you, Jamil, Tiff, China, Brittany was in there. Am I missing anyone?
And
nope,
you. I think we got everybody.
Yeah. We were all back there. We had just left Mary Lee's show. You had came over to the hotel. We were just clowning around in the room.
Right.
All right. So take it from there. What's your account of it?
So I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I was just like, I knew y'all was there, and I knew everybody was there, and it was cool, and it was always gonna be cool.
Okay.
So I had came back from, I don't even know what the fuck I was doing. I had came back from somewhere, and it was a bottle of Remy that I think if I remember correctly, it was a fifth of Remy.
Yep.
And you didn't want to drink, and I didn't understand the reason why. And I was already fucking drunk. And then when I'm doing that, I'm just like, dude, I don't even understand. And then China wanted to fucking drink, and she's like, dude, hurry up and fucking drink and pass this goddamn bottle. I believe that's how it works. And then you took your first shot, which is actually rather impressive because, you know, Remy shouldn't be the first thing that you drink.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, like, it really, I mean, it's good for, like, taste and everything.
Yeah.
But if you, like kind of gradually walking into that shit, like, that ain't really, you know.
You threw me into the deep end.
Yeah, like, you had to. And then you swam. You did great. Fan-fucking-tastic. We took pictures and...
Yeah.
You know? And I can always have that. Like,
that was a cool moment because it was like, so from the time you gave me that drink throughout the rest of that time I was there, everybody was like, oh, you drink now? Let me get you drunk. Everybody was trying to get me drunk. Me, Jamil, and Tiff went to Maggiano's, had Long Island. Tiff was teaching me how to, because I kept drinking like water. She's like, no, you're not going to get fucked up if you keep drinking water with it. Then me and Mary Lee went to a pizza joint. Oh, she was like, oh, you drinking now? Oh, okay, cool. Then she ordered something and we was drinking over there. So everybody was, and since then I've been trying, you know, different stuff. The reason why I wasn't drinking it, I think at that point I had gotten over any other issues that I might have had as to why I wasn't drinking. I hadn't had a drink up until that point. Like early on in life, like I had my reasons for one of the reasons why, or the main reason why I didn't drink, because it's twofold, was my little cousin, he had got killed by a drunk driver in his own yard. You know, he was playing in his own yard. So and then one of my sisters, she's us. I mean, she's an addict. Well, my sister's an addict, and I've seen some things, and you know, and that combined with alcohol. So I was like, you know what, maybe that's not for me, man. I'm not going to do it, right? So the terrible thing about it is, like, for one, I mean, I wasn't really attracted to people that smoke and drink. Probably more so now, not smoking, but I would sort of pass that off onto them, which, you know, anybody I've done that to, I apologize. So as I got older, you know, I would think about it. I was like, you know what, I kind of want to be more of a well-rounded person.
Right.
And I think at one point I was just scared. Like I didn't, because I'd never drank anything before. I was like, when you drink, do you get drunk right then and there? Like, no, it's not the case, you know. So I think by the time I had come to Chicago for the first time, I had already passed all those points, and I was like, you know what, I'm in here. You know, it's a group of us. You know, we having a good time. You know, his friends. You know, fuck it, why not? And so the way you did it, this is how it came off to me, right? So you was like, you was pouring it up for everybody. You was like, here, go ahead and take this drink. And I was like, oh, no. You was like, take the fucking drink. And I was like, man, I don't know. Then you put it in my hand. And he was like, man, look, there's other people that want to drink, man. Drink the fucking drink, man. He's like, all right, you ain't never had a drink before. You gonna drink now. Go ahead and drink it and be done with it. So I went in, so I drank it, and you know, that was, you know, it was that. You know, my chest heated up a little bit, warmed up, and then, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be that impressionable. Like, I don't want to be that person. Like,
no, it was cool. because honestly, if I didn't want to at that point, I just wouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? I joke about it being peer pressure. I just think I was just past that point anyway. You know.
There you go.
So
and that's good. Like, you are around people that know you. Like, so I think that's always the biggest thing. Like, getting fucked up by around people that you don't know Yeah, that's a fucking no. Like, you don't want to do that whole fucking thing.
Yeah, and as it turned out, you know what I mean. I was drinking with with my future woman.
There you go.
There. Yeah. So that was a magical moment. It was cool. I had a great time with that. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Earlier we were talking about this, right?
We were.
Hoes calling other people hoes. Give us some of your insights on that. What you were saying, how hoes call other people hoes.
I mean, I think it's always funny how the whole word gets thrown around. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't really think like it's weird when like people call people hoes, like, oh well, he a hoe or she a hoe because of this. Because I think the whole shit is fucking subjective. Like, like you can look at a woman now, and if a woman fucked 2 guys in one day, does it necessarily make her a hoe? Probably not.
Right. Now
you get a motherfucking woman that's you fuck 6 guys in one day. Does that make her a hoe? It's probably still kind of subjective. Like it's actually still subjective. Like as much as people want to make it as taboo as fuck, but it's still fucking subjective. Okay, so what if she fucked 6 dudes and nobody know about it? Is she still a hoe? That's what I'm saying. I think the biggest thing is like you'll get a motherfucker who got skeletons, kid, like for real, like on Hoover himself, like for real shit. So you'll come back and they'll be like, fuck that. I would never talk to a nigga when I was in high school that was over 22. Like, are you serious? Like, I went to high school with you. I seen that motherfucker pull up in that Lumina. Like, I know what the fuck this is. Like, what the fuck? Does that make her a hoe? Probably not, but I don't think you can judge a motherfucker off that shit.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing. And Twitter is, like, infamous for that shit, where they just like, you know what? Like, I'm going to be the judgiest of judgiest motherfuckers, but people just don't know. And it's not to be like people spread business and do this and do that, and you can turn it to this person, that person, or this person on timeline, or however it may be. But I think it's always sketchy as hell because people are like, yo, like, well, she's a hoe and he's a hoe or whatever, and it's just like, dude, really? Like, come on, cut that out. Like, you know, I just think the bone's still in the closet, but once that closet open, man,
we all might be hoes.
Man, at the same time, I'm just saying, like, so who judges who at this point? You know what I'm saying? I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I think a lot of people have banging their gavel on shit, and I don't think that they can.
What do you want people to know about you?
Overall?
Yeah, in general. Like, if there's any misconceptions or anything, what do you want people to know about you?
Oh shit. God, that's a loaded question. I think the biggest thing is I do like a lot of shit. I know that people always say that I don't like anything. I think that's always the biggest fucking thing. Like, I do like a plethora of fucking things, but I think I just say the shit that people don't like, that they go on an everyday basis. Like, I'll probably say like, oh, well, I really hate when I get on an elevator and I'm trying to get off, and somebody trying to get on. Like, that shit annoys me. Like,
you talking about when the door open and they just come?
The door open, they just come right in, and I'm just trying to get off. I think it's the craziest fucking thing in the world. Or something like somebody goes up one floor. Like, yo, hell no, I'm not gonna like that. And I don't think a lot of people fucking like it, but they never express it. So I think it's like I express things that a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, don't like, but they just don't ever say it. And I think that's the biggest misconception about me. Like, I do like a ton of shit. Now, you know, am I gonna like the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm gonna like. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, you know.
All right, cool. I tell you what. You brought the elevator. I tell you what I hate about the elevator. I hate when I push the button and I've spent 5 minutes waiting on the elevator, and you walk up and the door open and then you get on. Like, you put in the time. No, you wait. Like, this is my ride. Like, no, I didn't.
See, and that's crazy because, like, for you, out of all the stories you've had, all the shit that you've done, everything like that, you could do that shit. You could put that shit on Twitter right now, and nobody would question it. I can say that shit. They be like, look at this motherfucker. He don't like shit. So petty to like anything. And I'm like, dude, I really don't like that. I don't like hypes. I don't like them walking on a red light. Like, that shit annoys me. It's fucked up. But,
did it ever, at any point, did it ever bother you?
Yeah, a little bit. Because I think it was kind of just like that running joke thing that you kind of just kind of run with it. Like, yo, it is what it is. Like, but the fuck you gonna do?
All right, let's talk. We rounding it out. Let's talk old school music, man.
Okay.
Who did you get your musical influence from? Because you have a tremendously old soul when it comes to that.
Yeah, my mother, and a lot of my uncles. It's funny because my uncle still owns vinyl and lives in Hyde Park, so they have a music store that's there, and they still sell vinyl. So for him, he was listening to the Moments and Enchantments and and Marvin Gaye and whatever. My mother always listened to that stuff. So for me, it just kind of gradually went to that, and I just thought that it was just better music. And it's funny because even in the 90s, like, we had really good R&B in the 90s, like really, like that shit is really unmatched with what we do, like what people do. Like, I think the 60s and 70s the only thing that kind of can compete with that. Then you have whatever now. I don't even fucking call it R&B. I don't even know what the fuck it is. But it is what it is. But I think, like, for them, whether they were drug addicts or women beaters or fucking like infidelity or whatever about it was, they would say, like, okay, I'm speaking about this woman, and this woman is what it is. And I'm speaking about this drug, and this drug is what it is. I'm speaking about my mother or my group, or whatever it may be, and you can really hear the feeling in it. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, to just kind of listen to that thing. Marvin Gaye is my favorite, right next to David Ruffin and shit.
Well, all right. So what album do you turn to when you're going through it? What gets you through those hard times?
Oh man, like just a whole album.
If it could be an album, yeah, we'll go with a whole. First of all, is there a whole album that gets you through?
Oh yeah, man.
Okay.
If I had to name two, it would probably, and it's two different eras, but if I had to name two, it would probably be Trouble Man by Marvin Gaye.
That's a classic that needs to be in every. And it's funny because in the last Captain America movie, because Cap, he he missed out on a lot of stuff because he was frozen, and so he's like 100 and something years old because anyway, dude, he was trying to catch up on a lot of the stuff that he missed, and dude told him, look, listen to Trouble Man, and you're gonna miss out on you're gonna catch up on everything you missed out in the last 75 years.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So Trouble Man. What else?
And then the second will be Erykah Badu, Mama Gun.
Oh man.
Me, that is the CD. Like, if I was on a fucking island and I had to take 5 CDs, that would be one of them easily in a wash. So I think that's the big. I mean, you have other shit though. Like, I listen to new shit now. They have this guy called Adrian Young that I'm listening to now, and it's actually really good music. So yeah. So I mean, yeah. If I was really going through it, those two would be it.
You sing a little bit, man?
Hell no, man. I can't fucking sing.
We can't.
I play with that shit. Like, you in the shower and you can kind of fuck around or whatever. But man, I can't. Like, that's why it's weird because I don't really have a talent. Like, I don't have a talent. Like, if I had a talent, I'd be fucking rich. Like, I don't have a fucking talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could do good at a lot of different shit, but I'm not great at anything. You gotta kind of live with that. Like, that's cool.
So we can't get you to sing a little Marvin Gaye on the podcast real quick?
Wow. I mean, I gotta be fucking ripped. The only time I swear to God, no bullshit. The only time I ever sung Marvin Gaye, I was fucking ripped. I was up north. It was karaoke, and I sung Distant Lover, probably the worst fucking time you could ever fucking hear it. But I'm talking about blasted. It was 2:30. It was up somewhere up north, so we was fucked up.
Oh, okay, cool. Last thing, so you're a pretty snazzy dresser, man. Like, your style is impeccable. Where did you get your style? Who influenced your style?
My mother.
Your mom?
It was funny when we were younger. I think the first thing I remember, we were 8. She had Italian Vogue at the house, and that was like unheard of to have like Italian Vogue in like a black household. Like that was unheard of. But my mother is a seamstress, so she kind of taught me about patterns and different things. So I've designed a few dresses and everything. Like I've done that. Yeah, like I've done that. So I mean, I actually have probably one coming out in the next couple of weeks or so. So hopefully,
the new age, the new age Ike Turner line.
It won't be that, but it won't be named that. But yeah, I got some stuff. I got a dress that's coming out, and hopefully, it's liked or whatever. But
so
I think
how long have you been doing that?
Shit. I mean, I've always had it, but I just kind of just stopped doing it. But, it's probably been about 10 years, just sketching-wise. The sketching-wise, 10 years. But, I mean, it's always difficult to get, like, models and whatever and all the other stuff. So you got to kind of get in where you fit in. You kind of got to get friends and, you got to kind of have it lined up because, I'm not sewing the clothes, but I'm designing them. And you get somebody else. So it's kind of just how that lines up with different things. But... I mean, just, my mother, so she had those type of things, whether it be W, whether it be L, whether it be, whatever magazine, it was GQ's early or whatever. So she's always kind of taught me that whole thing with her having a fashion degree. It was kind of just like, oh, okay, like it's around the house, why not? So even with you, like y'all, people will come to my house and they'll see like GQ's in my house. Like I kind of, I think it just came from there. So and I don't even think I'm a bad because sometimes people just far out and I'm not going to really wear capri pants. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I don't wear like 75 fucking rings on my finger and stuff, or the beads with the fucking necklace. Like, I'm good with that. But, I think I got a kind of subtle thing that we got to kind of transition out of both.
Is there anywhere that we can go to see some of your designs or something that you had out in the past?
Well, it's actually coming. It's actually coming. So I'll have that soon. So it won't be linked to anything that I have Twitter. Hopefully it'll be or Instagram or whatever. I'll kind of do something separate, but I'll definitely put that out. I guess when the time is right.
That's dope, man. Definitely when you do that. I mean, you're always welcome on the show. But if I can help you promote that, man, I'll put it on my website. I'll have you on the show to talk about it. Like that's awesome. Like I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people don't know. I think that's the funniest thing. I kind of keep it under wraps. You never know, man. It's hard because it's like you want to kind of bring out shit to people, and you want to kind of do different things, but sometimes you don't want to bring it out too early. You don't want to bring it out too late, and you got to really kind of go with whatever the praises you're gonna get and whatever criticism you get also. So you just gotta figure out how that thing works.
I kind of picture the commercial being one of those black and white noir commercials, and with the classical music playing, and then all of a sudden you hear Greg by it goes Greg by Gregory.
on the Mark Jacobs tip. I see.
Right, man. Man, this has been a ball, man. I've had this has been an awesome time, man. Did we miss anything? Anything you want to put out that you want to talk about, or that we might have missed? Anything you want to plug?
No, I think the only thing like the fashion thing will be coming. I think that'll be fine for everything. My girl Janelle, want to tell her, hey, I'm thinking about you.
Okay, all right, cool. Shout out to the homie Janelle. Cool.
Yeah, man, it's been good. Thank you. I do appreciate it though. Like it's funny. It's funny even when you saying that people want to hear it. I don't know. I don't even know that people want to hear my opinions like that, man. I just kind of go and kind of do whatever.
People. Here's what I've learned, like because you're also one, like you said, people. They think you hate everything, and to a certain degree that makes you polarizing. People will tune in just to hear what it is that you don't like, so that they can have something to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And so when they tune into this and find the complete opposite, they're forced to see it in a different light. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, I thought this. Like, I've seen it. People battle with themselves. Like, it happened with the first podcast with
G.
Yeah, that's what it was with G, right? So people was like, well, I used to think that you were this, and it actually turned out that you're not an asshole. Right? Yeah, shout out to G Money, man. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Man.
But no, it's been cool, man. I'm gonna
Thank you.
we're gonna end on that note, man.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it. Hopefully, people have a different insight of who I am.
I'd like to thank our guests for coming on today. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, send an email to otap@writeme.com. Follow the conversation on Twitter by searching the hashtag OTAP, that's OTAP, or following us on Twitter at OTAP Show. You can find the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Android users can listen to the podcast on Podcast Republic. Just download the app and search OTAP Show. On behalf of our guest, I'm your host, Corey, and I'll see you back here next week on the Air Podcast, starring